So today we're going to do what to me is the most dreaded job of this whole this whole renovation, and that is replacing all of that rotten wood. And now all we can do is just tear into it. It's supposed to be really hot this afternoon with thunderstorms, so I don't know, we'll get as much done as we can today. Hey everybody, this is Bill at Live Simple, Live Free. Rotten wood. Gotta tear into it. Now we had kind of unfortunate timing because all of this junk right here is stuff that was in the crawl space. And all of that stuff in the crawl space, and we had Bruce go down in there and pull all that stuff out of there. We had him do that yesterday, not thinking that we were going to start on this today. So all this is in our way now, so we're going to have to move it all. Wasted a lot of time doing that before we can even get started on the wood. And yesterday Barry put in a concrete pad right there for the new air conditioning unit that sits there. They had these dumb little plastic ones you can buy at the store, but they're not big enough, so this is much cheaper and bigger, so he's got that done, ready to go. You said that the air guy took the old one out already? The old
it took him like 20 minutes. I couldn't believe how fast he was.
Yeah.
So it's empty under there. There's no air moving in the house at all.
Yeah, so it gets stuffy in there. But yeah, so the old HVAC system is removed, pads in, waiting for the new one to be installed. That's a little better. Now we can move.
The reason that we're trying to save the old T111 is to put it onto the other side and match it up. And then we're going to be putting new stuff where the deck is, where people are going to be, make it look a lot better and make sure that it's really good and sealed.
So now we got all this trash out of the way. We got it all separated. We got the wood and the trash in the truck, and we got all the metal here because that's a separate load to recycle. And then we got it all cleaned up over there. So now we can actually move. So now we're going to start by taking out that door, and we do now have the French door to put in there. We were able to find one, so that's going to be good. So here's all the lumber for our back deck. And we found a French door to replace the sliding glass door. So, in the kitchen. So, I think that's going to work.
I've put in quite a few of these sliding glass doors more recently, within the past probably decade. Nothing like the quality of this guy. I really wish that the glass on this wasn't popped, like the seal, the argon or whatever on the inside of it is let loose, so it's foggy. If the glass was still good, this would still be an excellent unit. They do not make them like that anymore. I just realized something. This might be the first time the three of us have worked together on a single job.
It is, yeah.
And it's kind of weird being in the middle because I used to be in Bruce's spot where it was your dad and you and me.
Okay.
It's like the generation that moved down one.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Hopefully I'll be
How do you
done.
think it feels for me?
Yeah, well,
Being the old man on the job.
I was just about to say, hopefully I'll be done with building by the time I'm the old man on the job.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I was until I got sucked into this one.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. at this big trench here.
Yeah. So we got a problem here because they put the T111 on and then they put the soffit on. So the T111 goes up underneath of the soffit and it's nailed up in there. So for us to get this off, we're going to have to take part of the soffit apart, which is really inconvenient and
Is what it is.
yeah, unfortunate. Okay, so we got a problem here because we were going to use this T111 to patch in over on the other side, but the T111 goes up underneath of the soffit, and then you can see it's all framed on top of the T111 to where the soffit is. So in order to get the T111 out, we would have to completely take apart the soffit and all of the framing all the way down as far as we're going to rip it off. And we're just not going to get into all of that. That would be a mess. So somehow we're going to have to figure out how to just cut the T111 right across the top, which means that we don't have a full 8-foot piece. It's going to be a couple inches short. That's rather unfortunate. However, this is actually, the soffit is actually built properly, which in our case is unfortunate.
So unfortunately, because we need full 8-foot tall pieces on the other side in order to patch up where we're taking that window and door out, we're going to need to take off the entire soffit, the soffit vent, all of the ribbing, dismantle the entire thing all the way across, just to be able to get the full piece. Man, he's loud. Bruce is over there taking out one of the windows. So a little bit more work, unfortunately. I hate to have to say that, but it'll be easier once the deck is in place to rebuild the soffit when we put the new stuff up. So sometimes you just got to do what you don't want to do to make it right. So here we go.
Boy, I've been looking for your big crowbar for a while. This one, couldn't find it. When I took that phone call and I walked down there to get away from the hammering, it was laying out there in the grass.
That's weird.
We never would have seen it if I hadn't walked out there.
No, I have absolutely no idea.
It was blended into the grass. You couldn't see it at all. We would have lost it.
Sorry. I did not realize that.
So I'm here at Lowe's, and like I said, they don't have any T111 anymore. This is the only thing they've got. This is kind of like a concrete board. It's really heavy. It's thin, it's really heavy, and it's got grooves in it, but it's not very deep. But this is the closest thing that we can find to match it. Of course, this has to be painted then. So I guess we'll go with this stuff. I'm gonna need help loading this because this is really heavy. So a funny thing happened on the way to Lowe's. When Barry was looking for the T111, he looked everywhere and he couldn't find anybody that even carried it. And he had been down to Lowe's and he asked them, and no, they didn't have it. So I bought this other stuff that I just showed you. And as I was loading it up, I had one of the guys helping me to load it. And as I was loading it, I just happened to say that, you know, we're renovating this house that's got T111 on the side, but you guys don't carry it anymore. And so we have to use this stuff that's not, it's not going to be a good match. He says, what are you talking about? We have T111. I said, no, you don't. He said, sure, let me show you. So guess what I got? 6 sheets of real honest to goodness T111. That makes me very happy. It's going to go right up on there, and once it's painted, okay, the only difference is the gap here is 8 inches and the one on the wall is 12 inches, so these grooves are a little closer, but that's the only difference, and it's going to be much better match than that other stuff that I was buying. That was actually a cement board. It was called Hardy board, H-A-R-D-I. So I'm very happy. And while I was at Lowe's and at lunch, Barry and Bruce got the rest of the T111 off here, and they cut through where I framed that window the other day. They cut that out too, where we're putting that new window in.
Well, if we were going to do anything, I'd say it would be like here to here, because all this is fine. I don't like the top, but...
So the joists come out and nail into this band here, and we're going to replace the rotten part of the band from there down to about here. And the rest of this is discolored, but that's just water stained. It's still solid. And we don't have to jack the house up to do this because the sill plate underneath is solid. The joists that come in is solid. That's because this cantilever is out past this. That protected that. So this is good news because the only thing we have to do is replace this one band on the outside. We do that, and then we put flashing on it to protect this for when the deck goes against it, and then we'll put the new T111 up on here. Aha! So by the time I found my hammer, he's done.
You hit it on purpose, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's Guten tight.
Yep. That's a beautiful thing. Ready? Push it in. Tell me about that heavy duty galvanized stuff? Man, that's heavy. I've never used anything like that.
That's all they had.
Really?
Everything else was like 10 inches.
Yeah.
It's never gonna leak.
So we just put this piece up and I forgot to push record. But because normally this is flush with the bottom here, but because of the way this is built, this is out 5/8, so we had to put this little notch here So the band for the deck will go right here, right up underneath. It's a little bit unusual, but it works. I've never done anything quite like this before, but I really like the way that looks. And then the wood siding will come down to here, and the deck will come up to here. What was it, 10 inches? Okay, I've been working here all day with these two. I think this is the longest day I've ever worked.
Seems about it.
I'm exhausted, but then of course Barry's going to work until dark. He wants to get this all buttoned up, weather tight. I'm just too exhausted to move anymore, so. You guys going to do it?
I don't suppose I have a choice.
Okay, so this is the next morning. So let's go see how much Barry got done after I left yesterday.
Hello.
Morning.
How you feeling?
Probably about like you are, only not as bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so you got it at least weathered up, huh?
Tell you one thing, that stupid T111 is one of the worst designed pieces of product I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
The tongue and groove don't fit together at all.
Seriously.
So the groove is probably 1/8 of an inch too narrow for the tongue to go into at all. Bruce and I just about killed ourselves yesterday trying to get just the second piece locked into the first.
Huh. I've never had problems like that with T111 before.
Either.
So it must be just this particular brand.
Yeah, maybe. I ended up having to take the saw and rip the back half of the tongue off on every single one of them.
Wow.
To physically get them to fit together. I don't know if it's just an error in the manufacturing of this particular bunch,
Yeah.
or just a bad design, or nobody else noticed, or.
Wow.
But anyway, it's up.
Yeah, I see that.
So I was just getting the sides of the door attached really good so that we can cut the door frame out.
Yeah, that'll be exciting to get that door in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Keep moving forward.
Yep. Barry's just got this only tacked up in place, so I need to finish nailing it.
needs to be raised on this side quite a bit, and then it will be. So that's about good right there. Yep. I just got back from lunch. While I'm waiting for Dad to get back, I'm going to go ahead and cut the T111 out of the hole for the French doors. That's the next step here, getting that put in. So instead of just brute force manhandling this big heavy double door through the door from the garage into the house,
It is very heavy.
yeah, we're going to work harder, not smarter, and take the doors off.
Oh, so much easier.
Yay! Almost like completed.
Yep.
Okay, I want to get the plastic off the bottom of this side. I want to go ahead and put it on the back of the frame. This stuff's fun. Yeah, see, there's no hole.
Okay.
Alright, well, whatever. Alright. This side.
Ready? What? Oh. So we make sure that the bottom is flat on the floor, and then once the doors are in, we can tell it's square this way by the gap around the door from the inside. If you can see one gap is wide and one is narrow, then you move the top one way or the other to adjust them so that the gap is the same all the way around, and then you know it's square, and then the doors will open properly. So these big galvanized 16 penny finishing nails through here will just hold it temporarily. We will go inside and put shims behind the hinges and put screws in through the hinges this way to make it permanent. It's a little tighter up here, but it still closes, and this gap is much tighter.
Okay. Looks fine out here.
So we've got a lot of cleanup to do now down here, but as you can see, this side of the chimney is now done. The rotten wood is replaced. The new OSB is there. French door and window. And then of course the deck will be all across here. Still got to do this side. And now from the inside, we have the French door, which is a part of the kitchen. All the cabinets will be along this wall here, which you can't see, but and then you see over there the window. And it's actually a pretty dark, overcast day outside, so there's not much light coming in, but this is a definite improvement over the way it was. Of course, I still got to put in another window over there on the other side of the chimney of the fireplace. So, I hope you enjoyed this. See you next time. Live simple, live free.